I had to skip work today because I had the sick.
The sickies.
Wasn't like vomit sick, but
Hey everyone, welcome to another. Wow. Okay, words. This is what happens when we record at night. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Apocalypse, and Depantsipation.
hello there. Hey, did you know that Seuss was based off of Alex Hirsch's college friend?
Wow, that's a fun fact about a show we're watching.
Yeah. Apparently on an article you can find on mentalfloss.com. Never heard of it. It stated that Jesus Cambrot and Hirsch attended Cal Arts together. He carried similar features to Seuss, according to Alex Hirsch. Oh no, it's spelled Jesus, but I'm guessing it's Jesus.
Mhm.
Jesus was an intermediate age, and we knew that he was a few years older than the rest of the friends of Cal Arts, but we never knew how old he was for sure. That's fun.
That is a fun fact.
Here's a picture they added. I'll send to you. They kind of a little bit similar.
I can see the vibes.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. That's fun to be immortalized as a character in a show, especially a character as fun as Seuss. It's a good character.
Yeah, there's like a lot of the show is just like Hirsch got his friends together, friends and families, like, let's make this. 'Cause Disney won't let me. And then it's like, apparently Disney's like, can you do a season 3? And Hirsch is like, no, suckers.
All right, so if you haven't already figured it out, we are still going through watching all of Gravity Falls. We are on episode 8? 7? 8.
Yes, 8.
8, yes.
8.
The Irrational Treasure. Which, oddly enough, I remember the important parts of this episode, but rewatching it, I didn't remember most of the episode.
I thought a certain character was in it more.
The main plot point
Yes.
of the episode? Yeah, so did I.
But it is what it is.
Yes, so...
I will also admit, I hope you win this dice roll.
Okay.
But we know how that goes when we hope the other person wins. What the dice feel like.
I had accidentally clicked away in my app, but there is a history thing, and I don't know if you can see the timestamp. It's probably too small to see.
A 13.
Yes, it is a 13, and I rolled it. It would be 3 minutes ago, so I'm not lying about this dice roll.
What the dump? I got a 16.
Well then, do you feel well enough?
What's this one? Oh, that one's a 5. I have to honor the dice. For anyone that's wondering, I had to skip work today because I had the sick.
The sickies.
Wasn't like vomit sick, but there will be plenty of times for water breaks. Yeah, it's my brain just like fried. It was just like, I thought there was something else I wanted to mention about this episode, but I can't remember. I will say, because I think we forget to say this every once in a while, but I think it's like a given. Hey, spoilers, you nerds. So if you don't want spoilers about Gravity Falls, well, go watch the episode and then come back.
And we told you which episode too, so there's no guessing at it.
Yeah, if you clicked on whatever I'm going to name this episode, it's welcome. So anyway, this whole whoops. The floor was closer than I thought it was. And so I slammed my water bottle on the floor. So anyway, this whole episode starts off with Grunkle Stan driving Dipper and Mabel into Gravity Falls, and pretty much, I don't remember the reason why, but they're just like, all of a sudden he's like, they see like all these people dressed up like colonial times. He's like, oh no, no, and turns around and it's just like all these people He's like, and he's trying to get out before, but then he gets surrounded by caravan kind of wagon wagons, and it's Pioneers Day in Gravity Falls, where they it's pretty much like not a Renaissance fair, but it's just a time remembering the olden days of Gravity Falls. Um, so anyway, the Dipper and Mabel want to go out and explore the festivities. Where Stan's just like, if you come back talking like one of these weirdos, you are dead to me. And then they start joking, and he's like, dead to me. Yeah, and I think the only other important thing to really mention is that while they're driving, Mabel decides to put like corn chips as earrings.
Yeah, she's got like nacho earrings.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, they do that. And yeah, it comes up, and there's Pacifica Northwest and her family kind of making a whole kind of speech thing of like, yeah, how cool, like her great great grandfather was the founder of Gravity Falls. And excuse me, but yeah, it was just pretty much, yeah, we're so great and you're not. And Mabel comes up to, do you remember why she came? I don't remember.
Pacifica asks people like if you guys want to share something about yourselves, and also is like, by the way, I'm also rich. And then it's like, all right, you guys can have the mic. And then
Mm-hmm.
Mabel decides to jump on and tries to like egg the crowd on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's when Pacifica looks at me and was like, "You're being too silly," and just like makes fun of her nacho earrings and the
Her dog
sweater.
sweater.
Yeah.
It was a dog playing basketball.
Yes. I was like, I remember it was something dog, but man, I wasn't coughing this much before we started. Um. So yeah, so she gets all saddened. Oh man, and
Do
kind
you
of
need
runs
me to
away. And,
take over?
uh, Let's the dice decide. Oh, well, that time I rolled lower. Yeah, why don't you just do this? Because my throat is like not wanting to cooperate, even though we were just like literally talking for an hour beforehand.
That
And
might
then it's like,
be the
yeah.
problem. But yes. So Grunkle Stan is trying to find someone to help him fix his car up and ends up going up to a guy. And he's like, hey, you're the mechanic, can you fix it? And the guy who's supposed to be the mechanic is like, I am not privy to thine vehicle. Car? What is this? And Grunkle Stan keeps getting more and more mad to the point where he ends up in the stocks after like not agreeing to do anything with the Pioneers Day shenanigans. And at one point, I forget if this is out of order necessarily, but I do remember at one point while he's locked in the stocks, he starts to make fun of Gideon. He's like, wow, you look less girly now than you usually do.
Yeah, it's this time, I
And
think.
then Gideon is like, oh, I'm just carrying my wares. Oops, it looks like I've dropped one, and throws it at Grunkle Stan's face, and it's a
Yeah.
tomato.
Yeah. It reminds me, is it Hunchback of Notre Dame where they have like the old man stuck in the stocks and he's like, I'm free, I'm free. And he trips and falls in like another,
Gets stuck again, yeah.
yeah, he gets stuck in like another like lock.
All right.
Yeah.
So then Dipper is again looking through his journal and finds a little tidbit that it's like a little note saying that whoever the author of the journal is believes that the Northwest family are not the original founders of the town. So that kind of drives Dipper. He's like, oh, let's get like revenge and like figure it out. Because I think in the beginning of the episode too, before Mabel goes on the microphone, he's like, oh, isn't Pacifica like your sworn enemy or whatever? But
Mm-hmm.
Mabel is still like too much of a nice person to really even think of it that way.
Yeah.
But she decides to help solve the mystery. And she thinks she can do it to prove that she's not too silly and that she is really serious. But the whole time she does things that are silly and gets mad at herself the whole time. Like, they go to the library and Dipper is trying to like figure out what patterns match on the journal page to try and find out the secrets of it. I think he decides, he's like, oh, we should set the page on fire because these alchemical symbols match with fire. So if we set it on fire, we'll get the secret code. Very National Treasure, the movie vibes.
Yes.
And then Mabel folds it into a hat and just puts it on. And she's like, oh no, I did something silly again, didn't I? And then Dipper happens to realize it's a map that she's drawn on. And while they're trying to figure out the cipher and everything that's going on, the sheriff shows up and he's like, we're looking for kids that are reading. They're suspicious.
Yeah, as they're like trying to get, well, yeah, even before that, it's like, we gotta sneak into the library. And they're just like, here's your pins and your free balloons. And they're like, dang, we're in. He said. And isn't Deputy Darland, he's like, or Durland, he's all sad because they didn't have like a balloon for him.
I think that's at the museum. Was it the museum or the library? But yeah, like they were like,
it was the library.
He was like, all right, no, they said we're out of pink balloons. He's like, what's the point of even coming here then?
Yeah, I think that was the first part because like that's how they know they're being chased.
Oh, right. So then they kind of sprint past them and make their way to the museum, and oh, no, yeah, the passes and balloons are at the museum, because here in the wiki it says that they have to break into the museum, and the lady goes, here's your free pins and balloons and your passes.
That's right, yeah, because then they get stuck in the door as they're trying to get them.
Yeah, and then they're both staring at an abstract painting of a triangle, which the map seemed to point to, and Mabel, being Mabel, she decides to look at it upside down. And they realize it's not a secret code or anything special like that. It's just upside down, and the angel's pointing in a particular direction, which they rush off to, which leads them to a statue in the Gravity Falls Cemetery.
Yeah. Which I will say, I don't know why Mabel thought it'd be funny to pick her nose with the statue.
We're getting there.
I thought that was next.
Well, it says there's a little bit with more of Grunkle Stan trying to get out of the stocks, and then Pacifica offers a means for him to get out because she's got the best family, and Stan writes a note with his mouth that says, you stink, so then more people throw tomatoes at him.
I think he's like, wow, I can't believe I did that. And I was like, you know what, that is pretty impressive.
But yes, Mabel sees the statue and decides to pretend that her nose is getting picked by the statue. And then it makes a cracking noise. And the first time I watched this, I remembered I thought she broke her nose on the statue. But turns out the noise...
the cartilage.
Yeah. But turns out the noise is the actual finger of the statue bending to reveal the secret passageway for them to go in. So Dipper says to watch out for booby traps, and Mabel laughs at the name booby traps and steps on a tile and doesn't move all the way forward, and to which a dart flies past them. So they continue to dodge all the darts, run down the hallway, and find a lot of secret documents. That Abraham Lincoln's hat was covering up a hand on his head, and Mabel goes, I knew it! Benjamin Franklin was always a woman.
It's for things that are going around in our own time is a very timely thing of covering up stuff.
Then they find the one specifically relating to the discovery of Gravity Falls, and that the true founder, oh my goodness, you're coughing, I'm yawning, was Quentin Tremblay. And this is when the sheriff and deputy end up catching up to the two of them and say that they that it's top secret information, that they can't let this information go out at all. And I forget what one of them says, but they admit that they took a bunch of the tranquilizer darts, and that's why they seem a little bit off.
Oh, it's Deputy Durland.
Okay.
Because like he's like, yeah, we got you, and then he just passes out as his back is just littered with darts. Bubs is just like, wait up.
It says that they were able to follow them, following Mabel's trail of candy wrappers. And then they go ahead and play the film for Mabel and Dipper, to which Mabel complains. She goes, oh no, it's in black and white. But it's like, it opens with what is like a agent that's like, you are only watching this because only 8 people in the U.S. have the knowledge or the security clearance to watch this. In fact, after this video, I will be shot. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah, I like. He's like, wait, oh, I'm not. Oh, thank goodness. It's like it's definitely like I feel like they wrote that line and it's just like, okay, we got a 50-50 chance of this making it through Disney censorship. But yeah, I know because I knew the line was coming. Well, I didn't know the line was coming up, but it was just like when I was watching on Saturday, it was made me laugh.
Yes, and then the video explains this whole elaborate history about how he was the 8.5 president who won in a landslide. And when they say landslide, they mean the landslide killed all the other competitors,
Yes.
and that's who was left. And that he was too silly. What was it? His speech was, "We have nothing to fear but big spiders." And then he wanted to do a disenpantsment, I think he called it, declaration, where he wanted to ban pants. He wanted to wage war on pancakes and everything like that. And then he was shunned from Washington, D.C. to the point where he ended up falling upon the island that is now known as Gravity Falls. Yeah. And that's why he's the true founder. But since they scrubbed him throughout all of history, that's why they've replaced him with a Northwest name. And then, who was it, Madison was the next president that they put in his place?
Yes.
And then...
I have it here, so on the wiki. During his administration, he issued a Depantsipation proclamation. His logic behind this was that pants are about restrictions, which goes against the American value of freedom. He waged war on pancakes and appointed 6 babies to the Supreme Court.
I forgot about that. Yes, that is important later.
Yeah, and
believe it or not.
Yeah, while he was president, he learned that no one should never arm wrestle a hammerhead shark, but appointed them to the Secretary of Defense. And the State of the Union speech featured a quote: "The only thing that we have to fear is gigantic man-eating spiders." And then that's when he jumped out of the White House window and ran away, and as you said, found Gravity Falls. Yeah, I don't know if you were getting to that next, but I do find it funny that Northwest, the person that they replaced him with, wasn't anybody special, but it was like the village idiot.
Oh yeah, and then he was like was he a grave digger or was he like a pooper scooper? I remember the scene where he was a shovel.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Me. Moments on Earth. Let's see. Nathaniel Northwest. There we go. I'm doing like my own wiki race right here. Quentin Trebley was a local nobody. His new neighbor. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh yeah, waste shoveling village idiot.
Okay.
So he was a poopsmith.
I remember there being a shovel, and I was like, it seems extreme to say he was shoveling poop, but I have a feeling it might have been. But okay.
Hey, when you have a shovel back in the day, you're always shoveling poop.
It's either dirt or poop, no in between. So yeah, so the sheriff says now that they've seen the information, they have to ship him off to DC, and they end up putting them in like a wooden crate with Quentin Tremblay like trapped in peanut brittle, and they reveal that he had done this way back when, hoping that it had life-saving properties so he could stay alive in it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and then Sheriff Blubbs says that they can't just let him walk around, and he's going to send them all to DC, and they're going to end up in a facility, and they likely won't ever come back. So
would have been a very short end to this series.
Yeah. So they start preparing everything to get them all sent off. So Mabel, who's obviously upset by this, right? She's leaving the area that she's just now starting to get to call home. She breaks off a chunk of the peanut brittle, starts to eat it, and then ultimately ends up freeing Tremblay, who actually did survive in peanut brittle because it in fact was life-sustaining properties. uh, supposedly. And
I
I,
I just remembered something that ties to this. Sorry. Yeah, finish
Mhm.
what you were saying, and then
I'll say, and then they go ahead and make the Great Escape, which is nonsense. But go ahead.
yeah. So, well, when they start that escape, they're like, "There's a hole in the wall." So there we go. We just got to force our way through it, and they find a woodpecker, which
Oh, is in
we didn't
earlier.
mention it. We
Yes.
didn't mention it earlier, where it was like, "Yeah, back when you were legal to marry woodpeckers," and it was like, man, that dude was unique.
Yeah, while Stan is locked up in the stocks earlier in the episode, he overhears an argument between a couple that's just married, and the woodpecker is like slamming Morse code into the table, and the guy is like, "I don't care if you go to the south for the winter, I'm not doing it,"
Hmm.
and freaks out, and he's like, "You do this every time," and then storms out of the house, and Stan's just like, "Whoop."
Yep.
So yeah,
But
so
yeah,
as they try to escape, they see a small hole in the crate. Also, Trembly is like, "It looks like I'm in some sort of crate made out of wood." They're like, "Yes,
a
you are
crate.
a crate." So they see the hole, and him and Mabel swear that if they jump through it as fast as possible, they can squeeze through and make their escape. And Dipper's like, "Guys, that's not. What are you guys doing?" But then, because they're kind of, is it his? Yeah, he has his finger out trying to escape through this
Yeah,
hole, and the woodpecker thinks it's a worm and starts messing with it.
yeah. It starts hitting the crate, and then just hits the crate in the right spot where it all falls apart.
As to which they make their escape, but the cops do see them, and they end up having to climb onto the roof. And Tremblay has a realization that he's like, "You know what? I never resigned from being president of the United States."
Yep.
And that he ate a salamander and jumped out of the window instead of doing that. So then he orders the cops to take a vacation, and the two cops are like, "You know what? We've been saying we want to go on vacation for a while." I forget, where is it that they say they end up wanting to go to?
Let's see. It I don't see it here.
Yeah,
Let me
I
see
didn't
if it's
see it in
on
the
their. Let
wiki,
me see if it's like on their actual
the
page.
character one.
Yeah. Uh, let's see, season one, Headhunters, Eventliness, Time Traveler Pig. Let's see. Um, let's see. Candy wrappers. They escort them to Washington. Uh, escape. To Mr. President. Take a vacation, which are eager to find. It doesn't say.
Okay, but they do get excited about the idea of a vacation because it's like they go, "Where is it that you said you always wanted to go?" I forget where they go back and forth on with that
Yeah, I'm gonna see if it's on Bubs's page. Let's see.
specifically. Okay.
Yeah, but if I find it, we can.
Jump back to it. Okay, so
Yeah,
then the three of them end up heading back to town. By the three of them, it's Dipper, Mabel, and Tremblay. And Tremblay thanks them for their service, and he decides to make Mabel a congressman and gives her a big old hat. And then he gives Dipper the president's key and claims it can open, anything in all of America. To which I forgot to mention, he also tried to use the key on the crate, and it did not work.
yes.
But he does give that to Dipper. And Mabel realizes that she doesn't have to give up her silliness, and she can still, be as silly as she wants to. It doesn't need to worry about Pacifica knowing, or she doesn't care about Pacifica's opinion as much. And then she also chooses not to reveal the truth to Pacifica, which Dipper kind of gets confused about. And Mabel's like, "Yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it." And at like the very last second, Dipper runs up to her car as Pacifica is leaving and shoves the proof in her face and calls her family a sham and that she should just deal with it. And then
I
it
found
felt
it. Oh,
okay. Go ahead.
I went through the actual episode and found it. It's Silly Water Fun Slides in Grand Lakes, Michigan. Is that a real place?
I
Hold
feel
up.
like I hope it has a better name than that.
Silly Water Fun Slides. Oh my goodness, hold up. It was one of the search things. and incredible indoor water parks in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay. I don't. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's just in the. It's in the transcript. I just found out they have transcript of the episode on the wiki.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I'm seeing if it has a link uh to there, which I don't think it was if it wasn't even brought up. Like it's not something that gets brought up.
Ever again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think so. I don't remember its name being brought up more than once.
but it does sound like a fun place. I
But
are you more of a theme park or a water park person? Like
uh,
if you
it's
had to
pretty.
go.
I'm pretty even on the two. I do like big rides. I also do like water slides. Like, I don't think I prefer one over the other.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I prefer a water park, but then I realized I prefer neither. So the big thing is like I don't like roller coasters.
That's fair. I am a
It's-
fan. But realistically, I probably am like, oh, I'll go there once a year. Any more than
yeah.
that, then I'm like, I don't need to go more than once.
Yeah, and it's like I realized I didn't like roller coasters when I was in Ocean City and they had like the baby one that was like it was just a swirly down.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a baby one, but it wasn't like a one that did loop de loops. And myself, I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. So, I don't know if I'd be better with it now because I don't think I was expecting my stomach to do all of the things I was doing during that.
Gotcha. If it's one of those that has like fast stops and turns, I don't really love those because those make my
Hmm.
stomach feel weird. I know I've been on some coasters that they'll have by the shore where when they put it in a theme park, they just make it so it's indoor and they turn off all the lights so you can't see what's going on and then you get launched
Hmm.
really fast. But it's
Yeah.
like in a small space. Those make me feel terrible because I'm just like, I, I have no clue what's happening. I just know I'm moving really fast.
Yeah.
And my stomach is like, whoop, 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 whoop.
The other thing is like I think I found out that I'm like I have a slight claustrophobia like fear because like I remember going on a water park and it was like down one of the chutes and it was just like the dark tube for so long and in the middle there's like because like I'm a bigger dude and I'm like sitting there I'm like I can get stuck and die. Hmm.
New
How
fear
big are these
unlocked.
things? Yeah, I'm just sitting there like it wasn't me like actively freaking out, but I'm just sitting there in my brain. It's like I don't know. I feel it's like one of those things where people be like, "No, that we expect that of you." Where my brain was like I was starting to like not hyperventilate, but I know I was like, "Okay, I'm not so sure about this anymore." But then the other part of my brain was like, "Huh. Well, if I do get stuck, that means the water would come up, and there would be two things: either I would drown from the water being covering my head, or some other person would crush my neck because I'm stuck."
What a fun time to
Hmm.
realize we have consciousness, huh?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there like going down the slide. And I'm like in the darkness of the tube, which was like I think at most 5 seconds, but it felt like
Mm-hmm.
an eternity where I still remember it today. And I'm like, hmm. Well, if I was gonna go out, this is one of the ways I said multiple times that I wouldn't want to do.
Hey, you would at least be dramatic and you'd be in the papers for a while.
Yeah, but I want to read it.
You don't want to be the headline.
Like if I'm gonna be the headline, I want to at least like be able to see it. What?
Okay.
Oh man, there's like a comic or a show or something I read where it's like this person like died, and everyone's like, "Oh no, this is terrible." And then like he's standing there at his funeral, like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, no, I got bored. I came back." And they're just like, "Wait, that's not how that works." He's like, "No, I just came back." It's
I just
like,
did it.
yeah, I don't remember what it's from, but it's just yeah. He's like, "I died. I was bored, so I came back."
Silly. All right, so then we have, oh yeah, so then Trumley goes off on his own way after giving them their rewards for helping him. They go to see Stan, and Stan's like, "Where'd you get that hat?" And Mabel says that she's a congressman now and that she's making
Mhm.
everything legal. And then Dipper tries the president's key, and it actually does open up the stocks to get to free Grunkle Stan. And Dipper's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
these actually do open everything."
Does that president's key ever come back?
I don't
Like,
remember. I mean,
I'm
we can
like,
check the wiki. The
I'm
wiki will
doing that right
have.
now. it's mentioned. Oh, it only has one appearance, but it is mentioned in the second season.
Okay, so yeah, so
It's
and then
like it's just one of the super powerful things that just disappears.
yeah, and then for me, just to finish out the explanation of the episode, we have the outro, which it, like you said, it was important to bring back that he had appointed babies in the Supreme Court. Because he, Tremblay goes and is like, I'm begging you, with my power as a president, can you please overturn this? Or some, like, phrasing like that.
Yeah.
And the four babies are just, like, making random noises. He's like, if it's not me, who will lead America? And they go, Mama? And he's like, it's a
Mama,
dark day for America.
yeah. Funny enough, now I'm like, you know what? I think a gaggle of babies would probably run Senate and Congress better than some people in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't disagree.
Yeah. It's like kind of how they have them choose Pokemon. Like you just put out 3 bills and it's just like which one?
Which one? You get a short description of each. Uh, yeah, it is a sad day knowing that it took 15 votes to get one guy to finally get into some position, but at this point he has no power in. But again, I digress. So, yeah, so the big point of this episode, like D-Payne and I were saying, we're like, oh, it's lore drop for the Northwest family. But the Northwest family was like in the episode for maybe 30 seconds total.
Yeah, I think this does come up later a little bit I think it's in season 2.
The plot point is important. It's
Yeah.
just we thought that Pacifica and her family were going to be in it more since it's kind of their plot point.
I feel like this is like kind of the kind of like because at this point, like even though Pacifica Northwest has only been in like 2, maybe 3 episodes, she's kind of been having that like whole I'm untouchable air. And then this is like the time where like Dipper's just like, heh. And what he says on the lines of like, wow, why does everyone try to pull down revenge so much? That was amazing.
Yeah, he's like, that felt great. Yeah.
There there was like 2 things that one that I thought was pretty funny with the things that Tembley gives them. One was the bill with his face on it, which was the negative $12 bill.
Oh, I did forget about that reward. And Dipper's like, wow, this is worthless. He's like, even less so.
Yeah. You know what? Tremblay is like, I want to have that kind of confidence when if I ever get trapped in peanut brittle. The other thing that we kind of skipped over, and it was when they were in the crate before um Mabel accidentally frees Tremblay, was she's kind of like beating herself up a little bit of like, I'm just a silly like goober and like, oh man, we would have been fine if all this stuff. And Dipper's like, yeah, you were a little silly, but like we would have not found any of this if we listened to me. And it's like this is something that I really like about the show, like kind of moving like as it goes forward, is that like the easy route would have been like Dipper and Mabel kind of have this like kind of antagonist like brother sister relationship, which I feels like normal in a lot of cartoons. Like they like each other and they'll stick up for each other, but it's like they're constantly on their nerves. And it's like in this one it feels like no, like they're like, even though they do get frustrated, it's like it's never more than like a couple hours in universe, and then it's like them caring for each other and like helping each other, encouraging each other, which is like is really obvious here.
Yeah. And then it also feels realistic too in the whole scheme of the show, where they're not always like the best of friends, but they're also not always like fighting. There's the whole back and forth of sometimes they're like getting along great, sometimes they annoy each other more than they'd like to admit, or sometimes they're in between and trying to help each other and the other one doesn't want to listen.
I think we see a lot more of that definitely in the second half of season 2.
Yeah, when they're getting older and they both think that they know everything, but realistically neither of them knows everything.
Yeah. Well, and then there's other factors that come in and stuff, so it's
stuff gets in the way of the relationship, but we'll get there when we get there. So it looks
let's
like
just skip there. Like we've already skipped right to the end of multiple things because of things I say and do.
So then for series continuity things, just going through this list so that we have the wiki is nice in compiling this list for us.
Yes.
Dipper mentions Mabel and Pacifica's rivalry, which happened in, was it the previous episode or the episode before?
The rivalry. I think it was 2 episodes. I can look that up.
Yeah, the Double Dipper, whichever number that one was.
Double Dipper was the episode before this.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. I thought Pacifica was brought in earlier.
She might have been brought in, or oh
She
no,
might.
she was.
Hold up. I'm going to her page.
I think she was brought in earlier, but she had her second speaking part in the Double Dipper episode.
Yeah, I thought there was something else, but I could be
Oh no, it
wrong.
must have been Double Dipper
Yeah,
because
no,
Candy
it's
and
she's in Double Dipper. Yeah, okay. I
yeah,
thought
they
she was
both
in.
introduce her in that one.
Huh.
So yes. So then apparently the Ben Franklin being a woman is something Stan mentioned in the Legend of the Gobblewonker episode.
Oh,
A secret document mentions a time-devouring baby trapped in a glacier in Antarctica, and he shall reappear soon. The serial number on the negative $12 bill can be deciphered into the word blind, which is an early hint of a society that we'll get to. And then Dipper ends up accepting Seuss's nickname for himself and Mabel, the Mystery Twins from
yeah,
Headhunters, because he calls themselves that when they start
yeah.
sleuthing.
It's like I thought you hated that. It's like yeah, it's growing on me. uh, and this is the first time we also see the Northwest parents,
Yeah, the full
Preston and
family.
Priscilla. Pacific man, was it like a requirement that they had to have a P first name? What was let's see, what was her um let's see. I'm trying to find out what the person who was based off the town, like what his name was. Like not
I thought it started with an
Nathaniel. It was Nathaniel
Nathaniel,
Northwest.
yeah. His was
Uh
a different alliteration.
mhm. Yeah, it's I don't know. This is definitely like one of those fun episodes where it's like, yeah, it brings in a little bit of information and like some backstory, but then it's like it also feels like, hey, here's a whole bunch of other places in Gravity Falls that we're gonna show.
Oh, there's more of the revealed stuff for
I
the
saw
secret
that. Yeah,
documents.
I just saw that as you mentioned it. Uh, Thomas Jefferson has actually two kids in an overcoat standing on top of each other's shoulders. The current and forever president of the United States is actually Santa Claus. Under the reign of Mr. Claus, America is not a democracy but a jollyocracy. The statues around Rushmore are actually gigantic presidential faced robots that will be called into action if America needs them most. Um,
The time devouring baby.
yeah, Tower of Baby. Writing jokes for cartoons is more important than sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And reciting the Pledge of Allegiance backwards will give one secret wizard powers.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Oh no.
Oh,
Today and
this
this
is
week,
other.
wizards.
Well, I
No
was
one
gonna
wants to
say
be
this is
childhood
another fun.
wizards.
This other fun fact I like a lot. This is one of only two full-length episodes in the whole series that Seuss has no lines and does not appear on screen.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the other one is another Northwest eccentric episode.
Yeah, this is a fun episode. Good lore dump, fun characters, fun growth
He
for
has
Dipper and Mabel's relationship.
he is mentioned because doesn't Stan say, yes, Seuss ended up talking to me for like 3 hours and I was stuck here. And they're both like, ooh.
I forgot that. So then, what I will ask is, who is the character you feel like you're most like this week?
Um, that is a good question.
Do you
um,
solve riddles in a obtuse way, in a silly way?
uh,
Do you get stuck because you're too grumbly to want to participate in the city activities? Do you believe your family's the founder and you are the richest person in the entire town?
that
Do
sounds
you
like a nice
go
belief to have.
do you go chasing around kids to keep government secrets private?
Or do
Are
you
you
a peanut brittle lover?
yes, have you frozen yourself in peanut brittle?
Oh man, not yet, but I'm not gonna
Have you
say
thrown
no.
tomatoes at someone stuck in the stocks?
I I I wouldn't. I haven't, but it's not like I wouldn't
You
accept
wouldn't
the
say no.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if the opportunity is there, it's like, um, yeah, because like part of me wants to say like, oh, Grunkle Stan, because it's like, as we were just saying earlier, I don't want to be part of any really festivities. Like, I'd rather just stay home. but but I don't really see myself as Mabel or Dipper, because it's like, yeah, the whole mystery and all that stuff. Like, I don't know if I really would be all that motivated to like run around and figure that out and do that. Pacifica, I don't really whenever I do have a microphone in my hand, it's like it's very much like supporting others. Like trying to boost other people up rather than like, no, don't look at me. Um hmm. And I don't really like align with the cops either, because it's like I don't really feel like running after the kids. I think Tremblay, because I'm just sitting there like, even though his ideas are so bonkers, uh, I'm like, how many people have heard me say crazy ideas and thoughts off the top of my head? Hop has heard many of them.
Many of them. So I guess then, if you go with Tremblay, I did kind of list off the different characteristics of everybody. Um, like, one part of me wants to say I'm somewhere between Dipper and Mabel, right?
Hmm.
Like, Dipper was trying to be logical to solve the puzzle, but then he would jump to, like, something so radical, like burning the pieces of paper. I would have been like, hold on, maybe not. Maybe there's a word puzzle here first.
Yeah.
But Mabel's ability to solve it was literally, going about it in the not the least conventional way possible, which is like good to do, but also I would not resort to picking my nose with a statue and going, haha.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of weird spot between those two. I guess if I had to pick overall, because like I have gone to like themed events and like I've been to Renaissance fairs and things like that. So I'm not like Grunkle Stan where I'm like, oh, it's a themed event, I'm not going. Um I mean, part of me wants to say Gideon, because Gideon was participating and then was
Hmm.
sarcastic and was like, "Oh no, I dropped my wares, Chuck." So as much as I don't love Gideon, I did like his little cameo, so I'll do that.
Hmm. There was
So
another thing that I just remembered that cracked me up, when it's just like, wow, look at this, look at Pioneer Day, and it's like all like has like a filter on there, and then it's just like dirty glass, move out of the way, we got dirty glass, and it pulls out and everything's like colorful and all that stuff.
all right, so who would you say your favorite character is this episode?
um I think it's gonna be a double. Trembly cracked me up.
He is a
So,
very good character.
and it's like, not that this is like driving my thought process, like when is he ever gonna be back? I see when he's gonna be back, but he doesn't really do anything. Um, but yeah, it's because like I feel like every one of their character, like I feel like if Tremblay wasn't in there, like the characters would have to be more of an extreme.
Okay,
Like,
the
yeah,
main characters got to like play it pretty straight, whereas he was over the
yeah,
top to really ground everybody else
yeah,
almost.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of am leaning towards Deputy Durland because he was so silly this episode. Between he didn't get the balloons he wanted, he had to eat all the sleeping darts,
Hmm.
and he did get excited over his vacation. Like that was kind of fun for it to see that on one hand, like, yeah, Bubs is trying to be serious and is like, we gotta get you guys to DC. But
That
even,
boy sure loves his bell. He's like,
but yeah.
woo!
But along the way, like, Derlin kind of helps bring it back to remind you, like, oh, they're not bad guys, right? They're not
Yeah.
really an antagonist. They're just kind of doing what they think they have to and making mistakes just like everybody else is.
Hmm.
I do like the
Just
guy
following
Mary.
orders, which just it didn't work out too well for people in World War II.
What a crazy twist to relate our children's cartoon to
war crimes. Do you really just want to go on a vacation? Is that really what you're saying?
I do. Here? The vacation bit was very funny to me, but I also got a lot of laughs out of the guy married to the woodpecker.
Yes.
That was a really funny bit.
There was like a part where I'm just sat there and looking at that, and I'm like, well, that guy is possessive.
You know what? Let's go woodpecker guy. Just the way he storms out of the house. He's like, every winter, you wanna...
And it's like, well, even beforehand, they're like, what, you can marry a woodpecker? And he's like, why, yes. And it's just like dead stares them into their eyes, just like, okay, guy.
Yeah, okay, you do you. So I think we have wrapped up most of this. Is there anything else you'd like to add on before we say goodbye to the people, let them go?
I would like to go on a vacation. When I was watching this episode, I had the epiphany. I was like, I haven't been on a vacation since before COVID.
That's the case for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's people that I work with that have gone on vacation, that have taken vacations and stuff. I was going to go on one last year, but then I had to pay more money.
You were kind of on one. You just had a place you had to be at.
It wasn't a fun vacation. It was
not a vacation by choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Any poop. But yeah, that's all I got. For anyone who made it this far, sorry. Not sorry for the coughs. Maybe when we record on Saturday that they won't be there.
Yes. So tune in next week for when we will be watching. I had the name of the next episode.
The Time Traveler's Pig.
That's a good episode.
Yeah, there's a certain character that keeps showing up.
He hasn't shown up in a while.
Yeah, he gets around.
Wow, you know so much about him.
A little. I do find it interesting, like a little spoiler for the next episode is like, okay, they had 2 festivals in a row.
There is a transcript on the wiki as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant a different wiki. I just saw the sneaky little link.
Yeah, no, that's what I was talking about. Like they got that. So, but yes,
that'll help us out.
We're close to a quarter of the way through the episode, and by episode I mean show. And I can't think of anything else. Except my body is like, you need to go to the bathroom again.
All right, well, let's outro this real quick. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you made it this far, we always appreciate it. Double appreciate if you leave a review on your favorite form of listening podcasts. My brain broke. Could triple appreciate if you happen to find us on YouTube and you like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. If we see anything written, we'll try and do our best to shout you out in the next episode. But we do have these kind of batched, so if your shout out seems a little late, you can yell at us. There are links below for places you can find us. And then also you can share us with friends, enemies, colleagues, bosses, underlings.
Cheese.
Play us for your cheese, your favorite cheese. Let us know what your favorite cheese is.
Oh. I don't know if I know.
You had 30 days of cheese.
I know, but half of them were the same.
Bummer.
Yeah. There's a lot of Gouda. Yeah. That was one of the things I remember complaining about. And I was like, they have more cheese in the Aldi's grocery store than they do in this advent calendar.
What a shame. All right. Ready to say bye to the people?
I guess so. It is like very appropriate that I'm done coughing and we're ending the episode. But, hey, bye-bye.